Good afternoon, everyone. Baz Warren here. Hello, nice to see you. Or you can see me, hopefully. I've just decided to do this little short thing because we've been getting quite a lot of questions about the guitars that we used on the Wingmen album, and Lee and I probably got about, I don't know, 50 or 60 guitars between us. So I know he used a lot of Gibsons, and he's got a lovely old Fender Stratocaster and different things like that. These ones are mine. This guitar in particular was being asked about a lot. It is a Trussart Steelcaster, which is made by a French Canadian, I do believe, operating out of California, called James Trussart. It's made of metal, and what they do is they weld the body together and then grind the seams off, and then they wrap it in alligator hide. Now, I don't know if you can see that alligator kind of finish on it. Very, very strange. Wrap it in alligator, so I've been told. And they then submerge it in salty water for about 2-3 months so that it goes rusty. And then the hand wiring is all hand wired point-to-point wire, and the wires and cables in here are really thick and really excellent quality. The neck is, I believe it's maple, which is being dyed, but you can see the grain through it. It's beautiful. And then obviously a rosewood fingerboard, old style machine heads, chrome fascia on the front, which isn't rusty, which is probably what it would. Oh, it is a little bit actually, yeah. Anyway, this is the guitar that I used on the Wingmen tour. A lot of people were asking about it. It's an absolute lovely guitar. Use this quite a lot at home. Got it for a Stranglers tour. I can't remember what year it was, but it was the one where we had the sewer theme behind us with the lights and the fans, and everything was rusty and knackered. And Jim, our drummer, called me up in his inimitable Brummie accent. Oh, there's a rusty guitar. He doesn't talk like that. He doesn't really. A rusty guitar online for sale. I knew what he was talking about the minute they mentioned it, and I thought, that's a Trussart, and they are expensive. They make Stratocasters, they make Les Pauls. Obviously it's modelled on a classic Fender Tele. I went online, got in touch with the guy, and he was actually somebody who I knew from Manson Guitars down in Exeter. And we put a deal together. He sent it to me, God love him, thank you for that. And it came in the mail with an agreement: if you don't like it, send it back. He hadn't played it for a couple of years, so he set it up for me, put the strings on it that I like, sent it to me. 45 seconds, I think it was out the case, and I decided I wanted it. So I've had it ever since. Always wanted one, got one now. Lovely guitar. So that's a Trussart Steelcaster, which I'm going to stand. Well, actually, I'm not going to put it in here. Oh, there you go. Mishap number one. This one, Gibson Les Paul Standard, 95. A friend of mine who I used to go to school with many years ago. Came into some money, wanted to buy a guitar. Knew he wanted a Les Paul, actually wanted a white Steve Jones Les Paul Custom. We went to Newcastle one afternoon, bought us a couple of pints and a sandwich, wanted me to go with him so that he didn't look a mug playing it in the shop, because he couldn't really play by his own admission. Will you come with me? So I said, aye, I'll come with you. So we went through 1996, this was. Or 95. This was that colour, dark wine red Les Paul. It's never had a scratch plate on it. I didn't put the scratch plate on. In those days, it came with a scratch plate, and it was optional whether you put it on or not, because most people took them off, which would leave holes in the body. So this one's never had a scratch plate, there's no holes. I got somebody to strip the front off, like Mick Ronson, and it's a beautiful guitar. Now, he bought this, and about 6 months later, he rang us up and said, do you want to buy a guitar? Do you want to buy that Les Paul? And I was on the door, I had no money. No, I says, you shouldn't do this to me, I can't afford it, you know. He said, you won't say that when I tell you how much I want for it. Well, he paid about 13 for it in 95, 96, which was a lot of money. He said I could have it for 500 quid. Oh, and I said, well, there's a shop, a magazine, a guitarist magazine, and in the back they've got a classified section. It was way before the internet, online or anything like that. So there was for sale, gear for trade, all this type of thing. I said, if you put it in there, you'll probably get about £1,000 for it. You'll get almost your money back, you know, because I didn't want to rip him off. He was my mate. No, he said, you can have it for 500 quid. I need the money to sweet. So I got in touch with the record company that I was signed to at the time, and we came to an agreement. I'm saying record publishing company, and they forwarded me some money, and I bought the guitar on the spot. I've had it ever since, and this is a beast of a guitar. This is what you play when you want to get a bit down. Nice guitar. Always played this. Had it for, like I say, many years. I mean, I can't believe it's only 30 years I've had this. It's got a few dings and scratches on it, all of which I did, because when I got it, needless to say, my mate hadn't even taken it out of his bedroom. It was mint. So that's that. Moving on, we've got this one, which is a 1986 Gibson Melody Maker. I was gifted this from a friend who hopefully will be pleased to know I've still got it. We call it the Swiss Army knife because it's little and red and can do anything. Somebody took the pickup out back in the day and put it back in the wrong way around, so it doesn't sound like any other guitar. And I generally tune this one. Yeah, Dadgad. Nice tuning, Dadgad, and this is the guitar that I put into different tunings. Actually I used this tuning for an old Stranglers song on the Norfolk Coast album called Tucker's Grave, and you can only do Tucker's Grave if you're in Dadgad, so it's... I know it drove people mad at the time trying to play it and not having it in Dadgad, so that's what you need to do. So that's a Melody Maker, and I used that on the record. Don't ask me what song, can't remember. But I do know I used it. It's, I mean, that we were recording that Wingmen album during lockdown, so that's, you know, 3 years ago now, unbelievably. This is a bog standard Gibson SG. It's only 2011, I think. I love this little guitar. It's got some wear on it, which I didn't do. It was like this when I got it, but the reason I actually wanted this one was because it's got P90 pickups on it, which are a cross between humbuckers on a Les Paul and single coils, which you'll find on most Fenders. And it'll twang. You can get an SG to twang, which isn't something you can always say about Gibsons. And I love, and I think this is the guitar that I played. Something like that. Yes, I would if I could. So yeah, I love this. It's got a different. You can get a thinner kind of a more precise sound out of it when it's in tune. Anyway, yeah, that's a 2011 Gibson SG, which I really adore. Use that quite a lot. This is a 1979 Fender Stratocaster, which I'm not really a Stratocaster guy, but I saw this in a shop, a mate's shop in Sunderland, Riff Raff Guitars. If you're ever in Sunderland, there's a shop in Hudson Street called Riff Raff, great shop. Sean, hello Sean. It was standing in the corner. It's a hardtail, which means it doesn't have the tremolo on it. You feed it in through the back, as you do with most Fenders of this age. It's got a 5-position selector switch, which means that you can get 1, or then 2, or that 1, or then 2, or that 1. So it's got quite a lot of options. The reason I got it was because when I plugged it in, each position was different. So you had, oh, tell you what I'll do, I'll turn it up. Each one's different, and you can sort of get a bit funky with this. A bit muddy that. It's a bit muddy. Nile Rodgers, eat your heart out. Great guitar. This don't play it very much. It's quite heavy, and I haven't faffed with it too much. It was originally black under the scratch plate. There's all the black paint is still there, and this is from 1979. So whoever had this loved it. It's a nice piece of wood. They did a good job on it. The frets are pretty new. I think they're all original. The machine heads certainly are. It's okay, you know. Lee Hegarty's got a much nicer pre-CBS Stratocaster, which used to belong to Paul Fox, I do believe. This is a Gretsch baritone guitar, and I use this a lot on the Wingmen record. I have a Burns Bison, I think it's a Burns Bison, 12 string, no, what am I talking about? Let's rewind. I've got a Burns Bison baritone guitar. Try saying that when you've had a few. The pink one that I used on the Stranglers too is for a song called Last Men on the Moon. I got a lot of ridicule for the way that guitar looks, but sounds great. And during lockdown, of course, it was in the West Country, locked up with all the rest of our equipment, and I couldn't get to it. So I wanted a baritone guitar to do some recording with, because I'd been doing a lot of playing and recording with the other one. So this I bought mail order, would you believe? Came in a cardboard box. It was only about 750 quid, and I absolutely love this guitar. I've tuned it to a B. So for those of you that play guitar, you play that down there. That's an E chord. Well, this is a B. The bottom string's a B. So it gives you a deep. And then if you start getting a little bit sort of retro with it, you know. And I think this is a kind of a Dwayne Eddy thing, isn't it? This is the guitar that I used on a Stranglers song that we did on Dark Matters called Land If You Should See Dave. which I took it out on tour. Lovely instrument, a bit of a nichey thing. You don't use it for everything. It has its place, like a lot of guitars, really. And I think, oh yeah, you probably notice in the foreground there's this headstock. This is my 1972 original old Fender Tele that I auditioned for the Stranglers with back in the dark ages. I just adore this guitar. It's I've had it since I was 18. So, I was 18-year-old. I didn't have any money. I went to a music shop in Sunderland, which isn't there anymore, called White's. If you were from our part of the world, you'll remember White's fondly. And they had a Squire, which was the copies of these. And actually, if you can get an old Squire these days, they're quite collectible. It was 1982. It was about 160 quid. So I got it down off the wall, and I was a big long queue in the shop, and I was standing in the queue waiting to go to the door to the counter to do a deal with the guy and see if I could get it on what we called the drip back in them days, HP, hire purchase. Pay a little bit at a time every week, otherwise they couldn't take it off you, you know. Oh my God, it makes us shudder those days. Anyway, I was standing in the queue holding this guitar, and this kid tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Are you going to buy that?" And I said, "Well, actually I am." He said, "I've got a real Fender Telecaster for sale and I only want 150 quid for it." And I said, "I haven't got any money, I'm getting this on HP." No, he said, "There's a place in Sunderland called the HFC Trust, and you can take your mother or your father or go down there with you, and they can get the money in a lumper, and you can, you know, buy the guitar and then you pay them back." And so I thought, that's a good idea. So I went home and I asked my mum, and God love her, she put a coat on. Me and her walked down into the town. She went into the HFC Trust, got £150 out, gave it to me. Give me a kiss, went home. I went down to a call box and called this number that this kid had given me. He lived in a flat about a quarter of a mile away, so I went down and my heart was hammering in my chest. I mean, it's a Fender Telecaster, the guitar I always wanted ever since I was a kid. I walked in and there it was standing in the corner, you know, this grubby little flat with a pair of sweaty underpants hanging off the headstock or something like that, I seem to recall. And I gave him the money and I walked away, and I didn't see him again until one day, which was, bear with me because this is quite interesting if you like that kind of thing, and I'll only take up a little bit of your time. I was in the town in Sunderland with my son, who was then 15, buying a present for his mother for Mother's Day, and he was getting an interest in guitars and quite interested, and I gave him an old Telecaster that I had, and he said to learn on, and he said, "Well, Dad, what was your first guitar, your first proper guitar?" Which was this one. I was telling him the story about buying it off this lad who I hadn't seen for 30 years. We got on an elevator to go up, an escalator rather, to go up in Marks and Spencer's, and coming down the other side was the guy that I bought this guitar off, while I was actually talking to my son about the guy that I bought this guitar off. There he is, and he went, "Whoa," and I said to him, "Will you wait at the bottom?" So we get to the top, and then we get on the other side and go down to the bottom again, and I shook his hand, and he said, "I know what you do now." He said, "I know what band you're in. I've been following you all these years. Have you still got my old Fender Tele?" I says, "I have." I says, "And I will never get shot of it." I said, "And I was just telling my son about it literally when you came down." Hadn't seen him since the day. Recognised him though, amazingly. He looked pretty much the same, apart a little bit grey. And me, of course, bald. It's a pain that never ends. And we shook hands. That was about 15 years ago, and I hadn't seen him since. So maybe I'll see him in another 15 years and complete the 30-year cycle thing. But this was the guitar that I auditioned for the Stranglers with. Doing all of that and stuff, and it's got new machine heads on it now. The machine heads were knackered. The pickup, that's not the original pickup. It's not the original scratch plate. I do believe this was black as well, but it was this colour when I got it, although I have stripped it and varnished it a couple of times over the years. I mean, I've had this guitar now for over 40 years. So, never get shot of this one. And that about covers it actually, apart from one more very quickly, which is a 12-string acoustic. This one, which is a Yamaha APX, and I think I did I would if I could on this one. It was in tune though. Nice, you know, quite utilitarian, easy to play, thin neck, nice sound, Yamaha, so quality. Got a built-in tuner, decent EQ on it. Haven't used, oh yes I have used it live. I used it at Christmas, a little acoustic thing that I did for a friend in Hexham in the northeast. I put that there, it has a tendency to fall over. And actually I've just been thinking I've got one more, which is this one here, which is my trusty Gibson J45, which I've had for many years, bought for me by an old friend in Sheffield a long time ago. I don't know if it's in tune. Oh yeah, it's in tune but not in concert pitch. Then you've probably seen me playing this. Oh, I love this guitar. This is quite old. It's got some smashes that's been nastily bashed there. I don't know how that happened, but it's actually coming away. I might need to get that addressed. There's a lot of work being done on this over the years. You can see the lacquer's chipping and checking and cracking on it, which a lot of guitar aficionados like. Gibson J45, probably mid-90s. I've played lots of them since. I haven't played a one that feels or sounds like this one. If only it was in tune. So that's my guitars that I used for the Wingmen thing. I do hope you've enjoyed this little information video, public information film. Hopefully we'll see you in the not too distant future. We're all very busy at the minute, as I'm sure you know. Big year for the Stranglers. Wingmen was only ever intended to be something that filled our time in, but turned into something much more than that, which we all thoroughly enjoyed doing. The tour was an absolute blast. I can't believe it's over a year since we did that. So hopefully we'll see you in the not too distant future. We're recording all the time. I'm recording here at home in my studio all the time, and so are the guys. And when we get together, when time allows, when time permits, we send things to each other. It's just a little project, but it's been fantastic for us and really enjoyed it. So hopefully we'll do it again in the not too distant future. Take care.